Good, dude.
Do you know what time it is right now?
It's what? Close to 10 o'clock, right?
It's 10.
Yeah.
10 p.m.
A long day today in the shop.
What a long day.
Really busy.
It's like Friday and everything is starting to... It feels like we came out of a sleep and then all of a sudden everybody's like, hey, I need my truck fixed.
Yeah. Well, since yesterday, since we got here, remember yesterday in the morning we were going to go check out the trucks?
Yeah.
That was our plan. First thing in the morning, getting here. And
Go check out the D13s we're buying, and another set of D13s. And it's just like one after another, and I'm not gonna complain because it's good for us, but it's just so much stuff coming down the pipe.
Yeah.
And if that was not enough, some of our trucks in our fleet are starting to fall apart.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So what I want to talk about is we've checked a couple of things we're going to talk about today. So D13 buying we found another set of D13s. They have about 5 or 6 of them. We're looking at
a lot less miles though.
A lot less miles, better prices.
Yeah.
Whites, which we
you're
like.
into the white, yeah.
And then we're going to talk about some of the things that we have happening in the shop. One of them is being the block
being delivered this morning.
That's the video. We're going to have video come out on that, but I definitely wanted to talk about what we've found with those D13s. And we might seem a little slow, but I've been here since 8 a.m. and we just had such a crazy day today. Do you want to maybe talk about what was some interesting stuff that we were doing today in the shop?
Really busy. A lot of AC coming in.
Mm-hmm.
We also had a guy towed in for a transmission issue.
Yeah.
What happened with his trans? What was the complaint? I know he just got towed in.
He towed in at the end of the day. Sorry, we don't know.
Right.
We have to hook it up and kind of look at it, but it's
fifth wheel repair that isn't serviceable. Unfortunately, we need to get a new top plate for that.
Yeah, that top plate is pretty bad. And then the AC on the box truck
on the Isuzu. Now we had this Cascadia with that Park Smart. The AC wasn't running.
Correct, which is providing light for us.
Yeah.
In case we have the lights go down.
Oh, that's why you did that. I was wondering.
I wanted to see how that's gonna work. It's right there. We just fixed it, and it's sitting, looking pretty. We got the. I'm trying to see what else came in. That one at Cascadia. It's a day cab running locally here, and what the problem with that was, he called me asking for some help. We provided towing for him. We came back. So what's happening is I feel like there's a lot of electrical issues going on.
Okay.
With trends and.
It's automatic or automatic.
It's
okay.
Automatic, Eaton 10-speed smart shift. So we're gonna dig into that.
That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, and then did you finish the video on the?
Oh, I did. I ran an overhead on the DD15 today this morning. Yeah.
And you shot it?
Yeah, I shot it.
Okay. So that video is going to be coming. What else? We found one of our trucks had a cracked block.
Oh, yeah.
So that's going to be a swap.
Big oil leak on that one.
Yeah, and that's going to be a swap because it's a good truck and we have 2 engines sitting. And I'm just going to put another D12 in it for now. Old truck, but a good one for sure for local stuff.
Yeah, plus we have an engine that we pulled out recently that has 600,000 around
700,000.
700,000, yeah.
Yeah. And it's clean as hell, so we should definitely put it in. But let's talk about what we experienced looking at and then we'll have the video coming out on Sunday, but let's talk about the experience we did with the independent shop. It was an independent dealer selling set of D13s. Not set, but like a fleet of D13s. The first impression. I would say, unfortunately, since they recently received them, they didn't have any time to inspect the batteries, I guess, because we had 3 or 4 of them that wouldn't. 4. 3 wouldn't start. 4 we looked at. Yeah.
Yeah. But besides that, we saw one with some side fairing damage. Unfortunately, when it was towed into their dealership, not being strapped down.
Yeah. So a lot less
But
prep.
yeah, but we saw some with some EGR valves replacement, EGR cooler, new air compressor,
Yeah.
timing covers sealed up, so that's a plus.
Mm-hmm.
Also, what's a plus is the extended warranty on them.
Yeah.
That's
the factory warranty to 700,000.
700,000,
Yeah.
correct.
That's definitely a plus, and they were working on
One of them.
One of them was the dealer was swapping injectors in.
Yeah.
They're putting new injectors in, so that was covered under warranty. And the mileage was lower than what we looked at the other place, and they did need a little bit more attention, but it was just a matter of detailing and kind of
correct.
combing through all the stuff that needed to be looked at. But overall, I'm waiting to see what we're gonna do on this upcoming week. As far as I'm gonna go there, and either you're definitely gonna go with me, but I don't know when. We're gonna just run some tests.
Right.
We couldn't run the test because they were dead. But
we did have one that had the efficiency. It was at 0, remember?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
that, and then the other one that we ran
was like at what, 82 around there.
Mm-hmm.
So that was good.
Promising. So yeah, they were low 400,000 miles.
Yeah, we even had some that were like what
300,000.
Yeah, 300,000.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The company just swapped a bunch of them for new ones, and
I guess the only downside was something that we noticed, the fuel tanks. And I don't know if that's really a downside, but yeah, small.
Yeah, it is. I mean, they were probably
like one.
No,
not even.
I don't even think they were 100 gallons each. I don't think they were smaller than that. So that's fine. I mean, that's not that big of a deal. So it's not a deal breaker. But they were. It looked like it was spec'd for like a regional operation more than OTR.
Yeah.
So similar to what we do.
Yeah, because of OTR, you would want a bigger tank, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I at least I would think so.
They would put the biggest tanks on both sides, and these were the 90s maybe, or I don't know what the smaller tank is than the 100 120. But we'll see. What else? I think
we did the first oil change on that Cummins that we overhauled.
Yes. What did we find about that?
Clean oil.
Super clean.
Yeah, super clean.
I was surprised. I didn't tell you that, but I had something on my hands, and I checked the oil, and I was like, oh, it was like shiny.
Yeah.
And then I freaked out. It was stuff that I touched before. It was very clean. But he did have a problem with the throttle
position.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, on those Cascadias, throttle position sensor isn't sold separately now, I guess.
Yeah.
So you got to buy the whole pedal. Yeah.
But that worked out. We fixed it for him. And then.
And it literally happened that morning he dropped it off, right? That's what he said. That's what he said, right?
Yeah. But he's been, from what he did already 3,000 miles.
Yeah.
So he's been very, nothing.
Working hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Working hard. It's been a week.
Yeah. He's been pushing it pretty good.
Yeah. And then, so you want to talk about the block?
Yeah, so we got the 12.7 block delivered today.
So let me backtrack a little bit, because that's an interesting story. I told my dad to look for a block. So he started looking around, and I wanted him to kind of find us something that we could actually finish that the 12.7 Detroit. And since he's retired and sitting at home, I'm like, hey, help us out. We're busy. And he did find something good. It's a company that rebuilds blocks, kind of finds them, I guess.
Refurbishes them, right?
Them. And we ordered one. I just didn't know. I wanted to move quickly, and I called them up. It sounded good. And then it wasn't that expensive, but we got it delivered today. And what was our first impression? I mean, obviously, Sunday, watch the videos. We're going to have the video come out, but...
First impression, you were scared to put it into the shop. You were scared of dropping it.
Yeah, it was fun. But the number one thing when we opened it up,
We found some pittings, unfortunately. I mean, not what we were expecting for, I guess, a refurbished block.
yeah,
I mean, we were expecting something a little bit more better quality, I guess you can say. I
Yeah.
mean, at least I was expecting something a little bit better.
I did too, for sure. But what do you think? What are the pittings? Let's talk about that first.
The pittings, the good thing is that the pittings aren't where the liners O-ring seal at, so that's a plus.
They're not in those
They are
spots.
not.
So do you want to explain for those for those that are listening, what is the what are pittings and how do you get pittings in the block?
So on these 12.7s or but mainly 12.7s or Detroits in particular, they're common. They always get these pittings on the liners,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll get a pitting in the liner, you'll get coolant in the oil, and that's time for an overhaul. Unfortunately,
that's
what happened to this.
Yeah.
But this one, the liner O-ring blew up, and it was leaking the coolant out the block. So it wasn't at the point that it completely mixed,
Mm-hmm.
because the block was worn out, and the liner had so much movement that it just wore out the O-ring.
O-ring.
Yeah. Counterbores were done, but they were worn out as well.
So how are we going to avoid it with the block that we have right now, and are we at risk of repeating the same mistake? We didn't rebuild that. So the glider I bought came like that, and then it happened. It's been quite a while, but I think the mileage is in 400,000, so it shouldn't happen that early.
No, it's way too early.
Yeah. So what do we do not to repeat that mistake now?
That's why we went ahead and ordered up a new block. The block is resurfaced. Counterbores were done. No, they weren't done, but it looks like the block is clean. You don't need any counterbore jobs on it. So I think we should be good.
Okay.
And as far as where the liner O-ring seal, there is no pittings.
Mm-hmm. So most likely we're going to keep the block
Yeah.
and rebuild the truck on that block. And we've been thinking about it all day.
Yeah.
I think
Plenty of times we brought it up to each other. What do you think? What do you think?
Yeah. But again, I would like to rebuild it so we don't have to worry about it for years, and the truck can just run. And but that's definitely something that I at least would expect them to communicate or send pictures.
Yeah.
I think
this
he had
is
a block
this is what the
sitting.
block that you're gonna be getting looks
Mhm.
like, just so you can get a heads up.
That would be a lot better customer service and communication. But they're pushing a lot of product like that out, and I don't know. Maybe they were rebuilding the blocks for people that we know that built those gliders before.
True.
So
But like I mentioned, like the pittings, where the pittings are at, it's not like something to really worry about, because you have no chances of blowing that O-ring.
mm-hmm.
So we're gonna get a good seal. We're not gonna get any coolant into the oil.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean.
Because I mean, you saw the block that we pulled out.
Yeah.
You saw the pittings, and
Mhm.
they were deep.
Mm-hmm. Then I guess we'll just have to rebuild it and see. And my question is, are we expecting perfect 12.7 block that doesn't exist?
I think that's what we were expecting, something brand
20
new.
years
Yeah.
since those were made, and who knows how many times they were overhauled. And
Yeah. True.
all those fittings happened because
Coolant
yeah.
not being replaced on
Yeah.
time, or not having the proper mix.
Yeah, so like the latest 12.7s that you would be able to find are 2001, 2002. This one, I think the guy said was 2000. We're just gonna have to do it.
Yeah.
And go for it. But
We still have to send out the crank to get resurfaced.
yeah. But that was
To get polished, I
fun. Do you want to talk about the Max Force?
Yeah, we got
That was an interesting experience, I think.
Yeah, we got a Max Force towed into the shop. Crank no start.
Mm-hmm.
It was parked at the guy's yard for a couple years. You mentioned,
For
right?
a long time. Yeah. 2012.
2012. Yeah, it was a 2012 MX. No, Max Force 13. With what, 300,000?
Yeah.
Close to 400.
Yeah, close to 400.
Low miles. We hooked up the laptop. We checked oil pressure, fuel rail pressure. We were getting that. Still, it was just cranky, but it wanted to start, but it just wasn't going. So I want to go ahead. First thing that came to my mind is like, oh, the engine's choking out, and I mentioned that to you.
Yeah.
I went under there and removed the DPF inlet pipe, and sure enough, the truck started right up. So it comes down to something's going on in the DPF. Could be clogged up, or it's definitely clogged up. Because I even I told you I didn't record it, but I put the pipe back on there and it did not want to start up at all.
Yeah.
Just to re-verify.
Yeah. But you did mention that when you shot it, and that the video is going to come out. I mean, it is already. We already have it published as we speak. But when you were under the truck shooting it, I think you mentioned it that you would put it back.
Yeah.
But ultimately you were right, and I think the question is now, we had more codes on that, which you want to mention.
We had some EGR valve flow codes, also under boost, which obviously if you have bad EGR valve, that can obviously cause up your DPF to soot up faster, clog up faster.
And what was interesting, I talked to the owner, and he said they cleaned it right before they ran
towed it in.
They towed it in, yeah. They cleaned it, and all fairness, I don't know how they cleaned it and what they did, but he was like, yeah, we cleaned it. I had this guy, clean it out. So I don't really know what happened there. But it wasn't, it's clogged up to a point where it's just
choking out, yeah. Like I did mention in the video, I did notice some new gaskets, anti-seize on the fuel clamps. So who knows? Maybe they did work on it, but did they bake it? What kind of cleaning procedure was done to
wash?
Power wash. I mentioned that too. Yep.
You never know. Some shops do that, I guess, but I think we're going to be able to get that done pretty quickly for him.
Pretty quickly, yeah.
And if it is EGR, then he told me he wants to run it for another year and then sell it.
Okay.
So, it's a clean truck. I think it's gonna, as we're not fans of Max Force.
No.
Yeah.
We had a couple Max Force in box trucks. Those Max Force 9s and 10s.
Yeah.
We've seen VGT failures on those.
You want to talk about a couple other things that we had happen in the shop as I pull up. I think I have questions. I posted a thing about questions yesterday. I don't know if we got any. I don't know. It was late last night.
What else have we had going on in the shop? Right now we're working on a back half on the transmission. The synchro went out on one of our trucks.
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, let's move to some questions. We got a few from our true and committed fan, Stick and Clutch. Why do Volvo 670 always seem like they don't hold air pressure for more than 2 days if I leave it parked over the weekend? By Monday, the airbags are deflated. That's the question number one.
Dry rotted airbags, or you got some
air leak somewhere.
Definitely air leak somewhere. Also, with the newer trucks, you have a bunch of fittings and they all have O-rings on them, and they tend to leak. They tend to go out.
Leveling valves.
The leveling valves.
That's a common issue. But I had just had a conversation with one of our customers. He was asking me, why is my Cummins always building up so slow? And he now drives a D13, and he's like, it's so much faster to build up the air.
Well, has he ever had his compressor checked out before? Or you could have a weak compressor. The main air line, the discharge line, is clogged up with soot or has some leak somewhere. And yeah, there's definitely a lot of possibilities why it's building slow.
Yeah, part two to his question. ABS lights seem to every now and then come on this Volvo. On this is every Volvo. The ABS, yeah. I mean, I think I know why, but do you know why the ABS light comes out?
Is it tractor ABS or trailer ABS? It could be
Tractor.
Tractor.
Tractor. I would talk about tractor because that's, you know, you want to talk about that?
You can have a bad connection,
Mhm.
or you have some corrosion, and I've seen it that sometimes in the rain you'll have these codes when you got some moisture on the open circuit, and you'll throw code.
Yeah, so harness, look at
Harness.
definitely connections. Number 3, part 3 to his question, the steering gearbox, how do you know when it goes bad? My 2013 Volvo does not have a grease fitting. So by how do you know
It can be hard steering more than anything.
skipping?
Skipping. Also, you have external leaks, which
Are common,
are common.
but might not always trigger what we're talking about, meaning skipping or hard steering.
Yeah.
Right.
Or if it was in an accident, like we mentioned before, like I mentioned it to you before, if you were in an
Mhm.
accident, that impact is gonna affect the gears and the gearbox.
Yeah, but
Or if you have a messed up kingpins, that's also gonna put some more stress on the gearbox.
mhm. And the way you can check it is if you literally just grab it and try to move it, and if there has a lot of play, you know it's a sign to.
But he's talking about the
check.
gearbox or the steering shaft.
Steering shaft. The steering gearbox, how do you know when it goes bad?
Yeah, so the gearbox.
Okay,
not the
but
shaft,
but
so.
but I think he might be talking about. I mean, he's talking about steering gearbox, but I think oftentimes, from what I talk to drivers, they think it's the steering gearbox that goes bad, and they don't point out the
steering shaft.
The steering shaft.
Like we mentioned, we did a video on it actually. Sometimes it could get misdiagnosed from a bad steering shaft, and it's actually the misdiagnosing a
gearbox for steering shaft.
Steering shaft.
And think about how many trucks we had that had a messed up steering gearbox versus steering shaft.
Not barely any.
Right, and it was always the shaft.
Yeah.
So I would look at that because I mean I'm assuming he's asking about steering gearbox, but
maybe he has hard steering or.
Yeah, but I would look at the you know.
Number one would
another
be
guy. It would be nice to put a location and the name of your shop. It's at the end of the video always.
Every video, yeah.
Era Service in Chicago, but we don't. It's there at the end of it. I know the end is boring, so not everybody gets to the end of it. But that's a good point with those steering shafts, because we had plenty of them today. You want to talk about that one truck that we got? Remember?
Oh, the one that Stefan did this morning?
Yeah. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, it was so seized up that on the splines that one of our techs right here, he had to cut up the steering shaft because he couldn't remove it from the truck.
And it had so much play on
the U joints, every possible
way that I don't know how
it passed inspection.
They didn't.
He took it. He's a JB Hunt guy, right?
Yes, and he came to us because he didn't. That's why we're working on it. But I'm pulling up questions because we had few from this time, but the previous time we missed a couple. What about buying a used emission truck and deleting the DEF, DPF crap? So the typical question that we've answered a lot.
We answered that already.
Yeah. We did. I think people know our opinion about deleting. I actually had a guy today. I didn't tell you that. He was a fleet owner. He's got his own authority, 7 trucks. He wants to work with us, and he told me his stories about his trucks. But he's like, hey, I have this D13 from 2011 or 12, and I'm like, oh wow, I'm ready for the stories. And yeah, and he was talking about deleting it, and I'm like, look, how about you bring it over? We'll run through the entire truck and see if it's actually worth keeping, right? And I think whether you delete it or not, if you're deleting what I wanted to talk about is if you're deleting a 2011 or 12 or those early D13s, is it really worth it?
Right.
I mean, I
At
have
the
my answer,
mileage
but
right
I
now,
was gonna see what you're gonna say.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
I don't
The
think so
mileage
at all.
on it's already,
The body's already beat up as hell.
yeah, harness, frame,
Harness
rust.
deteriorated, and you're gonna, unless you're maybe trying to get additional extra few months out of it.
But if that, how
But
much?
there's- but you
if that,
Yeah, but then you're gonna put a couple grand in to delete it, and then I was just like, look, how about we look at it first, see what's wrong, see what's the condition of everything, the transmission, the diffs, the entire truck, and then let's make a decision. Do you really need that truck, or just swap it?
yeah,
Just buy something else.
trade in.
So we're gonna have that coming in soon. But I thought it was an interesting question, that he wanted to do that with that. And probably a lot of guys think about that. You can buy a 2012, 13 D13 for very cheap money right now.
Yeah. How about that one guy that you told me about this morning with the D13? He had a bull gear failure.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
That's a
he was
good
like sending
one.
you pictures.
Yeah. So we had a customer reach out. He called us up and said, "Hey, I'm at the shop. They're trying to have me overhaul the engine, he asked me how much would it be to swap a D13 engine into a Volvo, and I think it's a 2015. And I said, okay, let's talk more. Tell me what you have. Let's see if we can help you out. And what happened was we talked about it, and I'm like, look, the guy's a couple hours away from Chicago. We could maybe tow it in here. So he sent me the quote that the shop gave him, and we thought, wow, that was expensive.
That's really expensive.
Do you want to talk about what they were trying to do? What happened? From what we know.
Yeah, from what we know, it was definitely not an overhaul. It was just a matter of dropping the trans, address the bull gear issue.
Because he had shavings and oil, and what they told him, it was metal shavings, and that's the important question that we were asking. Is it metal or is it aluminum?
Yeah, and aluminum would come from the flywheel housing because of the play on that bull gear.
It looked like aluminum, right?
Yeah.
So, but unless we see the truck, we wouldn't be able to state that for as a fact. But so keep going.
So yeah, they quoted him on doing main and rod bearings. I guess obviously new oil pump, removing the oil cooler and replacing it. Addressing the bull gear obviously. And I think that's pretty much it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cooling nozzles on the pistons.
Yeah. Turbo kits, some simple
turbo
stuff.
kit. Obviously, the turbo kit was just in like gaskets.
Yeah.
But
$25,000.
$25,000. I
was like, what?
That's a lot.
We're almost done here. It's 30 minutes, but so what we're trying to do with him is help him out, either fix it a little cheaper, or if it's really that bad, do a swap or overhaul.
Yeah.
But
regardless, if you're gonna do the overhaul, then you still gotta pull out the oil cooler because those shavings went all over the place.
Yes. So what I think is we're going to continue the conversation. We'll let everybody know what the status is. But I think it's an interesting case study. We'll definitely shoot it.
Definitely. Like I mentioned to you before, I've had experiences with those D13s. I've had those situations, and there was no need for an overhaul.
Yeah. But it didn't look like an overhaul they were doing. So I don't know. Such a expensive fix, $25,000.
25.
You could literally overhaul that engine for that.
Yeah,
a lot less.
Not only that, but you can put those $25,000 down and get you a.
I know, right?
Seriously.
The same truck.
Yeah.
Like you would be able to almost buy the same truck.
Yeah. Or at least put that as a down payment, and you got a truck with a lot less miles.
Yeah, because as an example, I'll give you. I found a D13 with 10 speeds, not iShift, but 10 speeds, 2016s in 400 something miles, 400,000 miles.
Yeah.
For 35 grand.
Yeah. Look at that.
I mean,
That's
yeah.
a no-brainer.
Right. No brainer at all. And we're going to finish it right here. I think this is a good end for the podcast. Hard day, crazy day today. It seems like everything is starting to pick up. So a lot more people out and a lot more stuff going on, and that's good. We need to just get some more technicians in here and whip out all the work that's waiting to be done. Thank you guys for watching, for listening. Subscribe if you haven't, share, comment, and we'll talk to you soon.